Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Scooter. This is my garage. Um, Continuing on from the previous video where the bolt snapped off, actually I was able to get it out fairly easily, which was just as much of a shock to me as it is to just about any of you. Just welded a nut and a washer to it. I'll show you here in a second. If you're watching this video and you haven't watched the first one yet, I said, go back and watch that, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, that the bolt came out fairly easily. So today I want to get the carburetor on it and the new carb boot, drop the gas tank on, see if we can get this thing to fire up and idle, and then maybe see if we can get it to go into gear and just kind of put it out to the end of the driveway and bring it back. I don't want to go too far with it because the tires are shot, the chain is rough and more than likely the wrong one for it. And it has front brakes, but they're kind of iffy at best. And I want to get the oil changed before I go doing any kind of serious riding on it. And then the issue with the forks, but we'll do a video on attempting to straighten those out. But yeah, as far as today go, let's get this carburetor on and see if we can get this thing to fire up and sit there and idle. So we're just gonna we're gonna get over into here, and you guys can see I did get the bolt out, and luckily I happen to have some metric hardware I bought from a universal kit that I bought a few years ago for another project, and these actually fit perfectly. They're the right length and everything, so those should work fine. We're gonna get the carb boot on, we're gonna get this carburetor on, and we'll go from there. But let me get you guys set up here. Hopefully you can see something. I did end up going and buying a GoPro because I was fairly upset about the way the last video went with that big white spot in the top corner of the screen. That kind of annoyed me a little bit. You guys should be able to see what's going on there. Yeah, good enough. All right, let me grab my tools, get my little rolly chair here. I do have an ATV lift now, but it's a little bit easier to do this kind of stuff without putting it up on that. I try to adjust you a little bit here. I know, I'm sorry, you got to look at my ugly face. Let me see if I got any more extension in this. Sorry, I'm not a pro YouTuber yet, so you're just gonna have to deal with me making adjustments on the fly. Turn it down just a little bit. There we go. All right. One thing, because I am doing the 400EX carb swap on this, you need to get a 300EX carb boot. If you go to 223 Cycles, which I just ordered their intake tube for this swap, they have everything in stock there. The carb boots, the carburetors that are set up and ready to go, and the replacement intake tube to make it work with the factory airbox, because I mean, you don't really want to run just a filter on it, and you couldn't fit one in there anyway, even if you wanted to. So we're gonna get this slapped on here. These bolts fit, they thread into the holes, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna fit the carb boot. Find a place to set that where I won't lose it. I can't get my fingers in there because I got fat fingers, so we'll I'm gonna try to start them with the socket here. Put that in there. And these bolt directly on. They fit the same way that the factory 350X carb boot fits, so it's not you're not having to modify anything or any of that kind of stuff. That one bolt, the one that snapped off, even the new bolt isn't really happy about going in there, but I think the threads are just dirty. Let's see if I can get that on there. There we go. Oop. Helps if you got the ratchet going the right way. And we got that brand new throttle cable that will hook into it. Still trying to understand why there was a KX125 carb just kind of shoved in here with the twist throttle hooked up on the handlebars. That one kind of threw me a little bit. I wasn't at all expecting to see that. I ran the numbers on the carburetor. That's how I figured out that it was a KX125 carb. Yeah, this one's still a little... I sprayed some WD-40 Specialist penetrant down in there just to kind of lube it up and attempt to blow some of the dirt and crap out of it. These are stainless bolts, so they shouldn't rust like the factory one did. Or at least I'm hoping not anyway. Sorry, you guys are kind of bouncing around. This little stand that I bought isn't really the greatest. I need to upgrade, get some better equipment, which you can help the channel with that by clicking that subscribe button and clicking like on the video. That way it puts us out in front of more people. Free to subscribe, just saying. And yes, I realize that was just a completely shameless, hey, subscribe to my channel type of thing. I ain't above it. All right, car boots on. With these, try to adjust you guys a little bit here so you can see better. With these style carburetors, if you've worked on these before, you know the way that the throttle cable threads in right here, you can't put the carb on until the throttle cable is threaded into here, because you actually have to twist the carburetor to get the throttle cable down in. So I'll get that run through. I'm gonna loosen it up here, and I'll deal with running it where it needs to be afterwards. We're gonna start by feeding our cable down through, and we got to get it. Actually, you know what? I think I can start a couple of threads on that before I really worry about hooking that up. That way it'll hold it where I want it. And can you guys see? You're gonna have to twist the throttle, open it up, and there's a little channel that this cable sits in. Sorry, I know my fat fingers are in your way. Right here is the little slot that it sits in, and you've got to twist it up enough so you can bend the end of this over. And my hands are way too big for this kind of stuff. There we go. And come on. See what I mean? Now the cable, there's a little slot that the cable slides into right there, right at the end of my fingernail. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a struggle because the barrel doesn't want to go down in straight. Or in this case, I think this one, I may have to grab a file. Yeah, I got to get a file and knock some material off the top of that. Grab that really quick. If I can remember what I do with my file. You guys don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Here we go. A little bit of overkill for the job, but yeah, there's a little bit of cable sticking out of the end of that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's making it so the barrel won't go all the way down in. We're just gonna try to file that down a little bit for the lettuce. Way more file than this job requires, but hey, it's what I got. Just try to flatten that out so it'll go down in. There we go, that's better. I just drop that on the floor, forget about it, and then trip over it in 10 minutes and wonder why it was laying there. There we go. Come on, you. Yeah, these can be, if you got big hands like I do, these can be a bit of a struggle. There we go. And then the barrel sits in there. There's that little channel I was talking about right here. That's where the cable slides through. So you gotta take the cable and actually, or push this, open the throttle up and actually twist the cable around, slide your barrel in while lining that up so the whole thing drops into place. Now we can finish tightening up the carpentator. Yeah, I said it. No, I don't care how you feel about it. And we'll give that one more. You want to make sure that when you thread it down in that you've got enough thread engagement with a nut that locks it in place. I'd say probably thread it in about halfway, maybe. Kind of like, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I can barely see it. We're about halfway, maybe a little past halfway threaded in, but you want to make sure that you've got enough threads on this nut right here to actually lock it into place. You don't want to you don't want to have that hanging on by like half a thread, because it'll either end up backing off or you'll go to tighten it down and it'll spin right off. But I've got to grab the screws and the cover, because there's a cover that goes over this whole throttle assembly. Maybe I should have zoomed you guys out a little bit. But let me grab that cover and said screws. And I just realized that I didn't put the hose clamp on the car. Oh, well, we haven't put that on yet anyway, so I guess it's not really a big deal. Throw that on there before I forget. There we go. All right, and then comes with this. This is the black plate. These carbs are a lot like the factory ones that come on these. So if you're taking yours off, you already know you gotta put this cover on. As soon as I figure out what way it goes, how it fits in here. Give me 2 seconds. I probably should have done this beforehand. Ah, there we go. Okay. That drops down into there. That goes over that. I'm trying to keep everything in the shop for you guys. I really need to hire a cameraman. Now we got just 2 screws to hold it in place. Of course, I forgot to grab a screwdriver before I started this video, so y'all just sit there and hang out for a minute, talk amongst yourselves. Take that screw, go put it in there, spin that down, tighten her up. I'll do the same with the other one. Oh, that guy there. I think you guys can see that. Come on. Oh, go figure. Me and my fat fingers. Come on, you. So yeah, if you're planning on doing this carb swap, 223 cycles has everything you need. I just bought a cheap carburetor because, well, let's face facts, I'm cheap. If I wasn't, that last video would have come out a lot better than it did. But we're gonna thread that on there, get that tightened down, make sure everything fits properly. Now this part can be a bit of a fight to get these in here, just because, I mean, even the stock carburetors are a bit of a bear to get into place. Come on, you. Sitting here sticking my tongue out like that's gonna help. Oh, might help if this genius loosened up the clamp enough to where it would actually allow the boot to expand to allow the carburetor going, because this is even these 300EX carb boots are a very snug fit, you'll find. Come on, screwdriver out and see if we can pry that rubber back. There we go. All right, what am I doing wrong here? There's some spot in this that isn't going where it should be, where I want it to go. Yeah, like I said, these can be just as much of a struggle to get into place as the factory carburetors are. Whew. All right, that's got to go in just a smidge further. Oh, I got a Siberian Husky, and I swear to God, her fur is just literally everywhere. Love the dog to death, but whew, warm in here today. Make sure that actually goes down. I gotta see if I can push that in there a little bit further. That's not quite where it should be. Actually, you know what? We'll close that choke back up. I think that's got it. Not quite. Oh, yeah, it's about as far as it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna go in much farther than that. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is a bit of a struggle. If you've got an actual like OE 300EX carb boot, I don't think it'll fight you this bad. This is just a cheap one off of Amazon. Kind of feels like it's hitting something. Like it's not something just ain't jiving. I think that's about as far in as it's gonna go. I can't really get much more out of it. I don't know if it's because, you know, that would be why. Definitely did not back that hose clamp up far enough. It's not one thing, it's another, right, folks? All right, that should be plenty loose enough to get that to go in the rest of the way. I hope. I swear, this is easier than I'm making it look. Okay, that's got it. Yeah, sometimes you just got to be smarter than the object you're working with. Or so I've been told. All right, we'll tighten the clamp down. I don't know that I'm going to go straight to putting the gas tank on it. I may just hook a piece of fuel line up to it and squirt some fuel down in it and see if I can fill the fuel bowl and get it to idle. Boy, I tell you folks, I need an air conditioner in this garage or something. It is warm in here today. I don't remember if I said it in the last video or not, but the decompression lever on this does not work. It's going to kick over hard, but it shouldn't be anything that I can't handle. But that remains to be seen. Back you guys up a little bit. We'll hook some fuel hose up to this, and see if we can get it to idle. Put you guys right there. I'm just gonna cut off a small piece of the hose that I bought. I don't know, 3-4 inches long. And we'll squirt some fuel down in the old girl and see if we can get it to idle. Boy, I tell you, this is some mighty stiff fuel line for what it is. I should say for where it came from anyway. Pull this little cover off here. See if we can get this to go into place without popping the carburetor off, because like I said, this is an extremely stiff Gas line. Giggity. Alright, got a little piece of gas line hanging out there. Grab our little squirt bottle here. See if we can fill up this fuel bowl. Hopefully it doesn't leak. I took it apart to check the jets in it before I went and put it on in case I had to order new ones, which I probably should have, but we'll see how it runs on these. I think from what I read, the jets that are in it should work. I can't say that 100%, but they should. All right. I'm going to back you folks up a little bit, and then we'll give her hell, see if we can get it to fire up and idle. Take you guys over here out of the blast zone. Like I said, I need to hire a cameraman. All right, put you guys right there. I do have my work boots on today because I know there's no way I'm going to kick this thing over with the carburetor on it and wearing Hey Dudes. You guys don't want to see my fat gut, do you? So let's see if we can bring the fire, bring the thunder. Try to pull a little fuel in. Looks like I'm going to have to turn the idle up a little bit, but it is working. So that's a start. Grab a flathead screwdriver here. Turn this idle up a little bit. I think I'm going to kick the choke off too and see if it'll run without the choke on. A bit on the loud side because give a little more in there. It's a bit on the loud side because I'm pretty sure that the gaskets on the header here, the one on the far side, I think was shot. You can actually feel exhaust coming around that one. So they will need to be replaced. But guys, 15 years in the barn. Only yesterday we got it fired up. Now it's sitting there and idle and on its own. 400EX carb upgrade. You know, we got a bunch more parts coming for it. We're doing a lot more with it here soon. Maybe I'll set you guys up and see if we can get a shot of it going down the driveway under its own power for the first time in 15 years. So I'm going to make a few tweaks, try to get this thing idling, you know, make sure everything's good. And we'll get the gas tank on it, and we'll see if we can take it for a ride. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right, folks, let's give this thing a whirl, shall we? All right, folks, so there you have it. 15 years in a barn, and it just drove out of the shop under its own power in 2 days. That's Honda for you. I've actually had a lot of older Hondas, Honda three-wheelers, similar situations, you know, sat in a barn, somebody tore it apart, put it back together, whatever. They usually fire right up. I mean, Honda engines are just reliable like that. But yeah, next video we'll do, we'll get the forks pulled off, try to get them straightened out as best I can. I mean, I honestly can't make them any worse than they already are because they're junk the way they sit. So we'll put the new handlebars on, new grips, and I'm gonna order tires for it. I'm not sure when they'll be in, but we'll get them on, and then you know, we'll just keep rolling with this. Every time I do a few things, we'll you know, when I get set up to do a few things, we'll do a video on it. I'm gonna be sending them at you kind of rapid fire for a little bit because I'm trying to get this ready to go to West Virginia in August. And yeah, just keep an eye out if you haven't already. You know I said it earlier, but like the video, subscribe. You know, liking helps with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribing will give you notifications, keep you up to date on when new videos for, you know, that old dinosaur come out. And yeah, until next time, keep shiny side up.